नमस्तुते। तप्त कंचन गौरंगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी, वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। I would like to take the blessing of all of the assembled Vaishnavas so that I can speak something on the subject of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So I'll quickly share my screen. Second. Does anybody remember which verse we have to do today? Yes, no?
5:21. 5:20 and 21.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, you're right. So we have to do 5.21. So what is the chapter name? Fifth chapter. We are all doing fifth chapter. No one? So fifth chapter name is Karma Yoga in Krishna consciousness. So yesterday Pyare Prabhu was giving the class and was explaining about the, as Krishna was explaining about the self-realized person characteristics. So continuing to that, we are discussing about how the self-realized devotee is and where does the self-realized devotee takes pleasure. So please repeat after me. Bhaya sparsha vasaktatma
बाह्यस्पर्शेव असक्तात्मा
vindati atmani yat sukham
विन्दत्यात्मनि यत् सुखम्
sa brahma yoga yuktatma
स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा
sukham asakyam ashnute.
सुखम् अक्षयम् अश्नुते।
Bhaya sparsha vasaktatma
बाह्यस्पर्शेव असक्तात्मा
vindati atmani yat sukham
विन्दत्यात्मनि यत् सुखम्
sa brahma yoga yuktatma
स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा
sukham akshayam ashnute.
सुखम् अक्षयम् अश्नुते।
Bhaya sparsha vasaktatma
बाह्यस्पर्शेष्व असक्तात्मा
vindati atmani yat sukham
विन्दत्यात्मनि यत् सुखम्
sa brahma yoga yuktatma
स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा
sukham akshayam ashnute.
सुखम् अक्षयम् अश्नुते।
Anybody would like to recite?
बाह्यस्पर्शेष्व असक्तात्मा
Bhaya sparsheshva saktatma
विन्दत्यात्मनि यत् सुखम्
vindati atmani yat sukham
स ब्रह्मयोगयुक्तात्मा
sa brahma yoga yuktatma
सुखम् अक्षयम् अश्नुते।
sukham akshayam ashnute. Anyone else? Okay.
Me?
Yeah, you can if you want.
Vayasparsha asamsta.
Asaktat.
Vayasparsheshva asyatama. Vidyante anamya sukham.
Oh, you don't want us to repeat?
Atmayat sukham. Sa brahma yoga yuktatma. Sa brahma yoga yuktamam. Sukham akyam ashityah. Sukham aksham ashmin. Vayasparsheshva ashiktama.
Bhaya sarshava saktatma
Vidati atmani yat sukham.
Vindati.
Indatyatmani yat sukam.
Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma
Sa Brahma Yoga Yuktatma.
Shukam Akshayam Ashnute.
Sukam Akshayam Ashnate. Very good.
Thank you everyone for reciting the verse. So let's go to the word meaning. Bahaya sparsheshu.
Bahya Sparsheshu.
In external sense pleasure.
In external sense pleasure.
Asakta atma.
Asaktatma.
One who is not attached.
One who is not attached.
Vindati.
Vindati.
Enjoys.
Enjoys.
Atmani.
Atmani.
In the self.
In the self.
Yat.
Yat.
That which.
That which.
Sukham.
Sukam.
Happiness.
Happiness.
Saha.
Saha.
He. Brahma yoga.
Brahma Yoga.
By concentration in Brahman.
By concentration in Brahman.
Yukta atma.
Yuktatma.
Self-connected.
Self-connected.
Come.
Sukam.
Happiness.
Happiness.
Akshayam.
Akshayam.
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
Ashnute.
Ashnute.
Enjoys.
Enjoys.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized persons enjoy unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Sri Amanacharya, a great devotee in Krishna consciousness, said, what did he say? Yadavati mama cheta Krishna padaravinde nava nava rasa dhamani utyatam rantum asit tadavati vatanari sangame samaryamane bhavati mukha vikara shushtu nishti vanaham cha. Since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, realizing ever new pleasure in him, whenever I think of sex pleasure, I spit at the thought and my lips curl with distress. A person in Brahma Yoga or Krishna consciousness is so absorbed in the loving service of the Lord that he loses his taste for material sense pleasure altogether. The highest pleasure in term of matter is sex pleasure. The whole world is moving under its spell, and a materialistic cannot work at all without this motivation. But a person engaged in Krishna consciousness can work with great vigor without sex pleasure, which he avoids. That is the test in spiritual realization. Spiritual realization and sex pleasure go ill together. A Krishna conscious person is not attracted to any kind of sense pleasure due to his being a liberated soul. I just quickly check on my charging because I don't want my Zoom to switch off. Just 30 seconds. Thank you. Sorry about that. My charger was connected, but it was not charging. Yes. So what we have read in this verses that again the translation, what does Prabhupada says here and what is Krishna is saying about a liberated person who is not a materialistic, who is a transcendentalist, how is he's averse to material sense pleasure. And he's always in trance. He's always meditating on Radha Krishna's pastime. He's always meditating on how to serve Krishna, how to serve the Lord, right? So he's enjoying within himself. He doesn't need external sense gratification like we have these different senses, right? Eyes, ears, nose. So these different senses require sense pleasure. So our eyes want to see something good, our ears want to hear some beautiful music, our skin want some soft touch. So these kind of external sense gratification that has not been looked. So who will look after these material sense pleasure? Only the materialistic people. Who is a liberated person, he is not at all after this material sense gratification. Why? Because he always concentrates on the supreme, right? So if somebody, and here Prabhupada also gives example in the purport about Sri Yamunacharya. So if somebody says you, okay, you have to stop each and every sense gratification, but the highest activities has not been given to you. So that is not at all impossible. How Prabhupada says that the desire, because we are living entity, we are not the matter. So matter, a stone might be not having the desire. I mean, it doesn't have any desire because it's a matter. But we are not like a stone. We are a living entity. So our condition is to do something, right? We cannot sit for a long time not doing anything. We'll be thinking something, doing something, willing something, feeling something, because we have the spirit. We are spirit soul. We cannot stay like a matter, so we have to move about, or we have to do some activity, either in the way of thinking. If you are sitting also, have you ever thought that you're not thinking anything? Some or the different things are coming in our mind every now and then, and our, what is the mind function? Mind function is to accept and reject, right? So even while sitting, it's not like that we are not doing anything. Our mind is still working, we're still thinking, because the soul nature is very active, like a child. How is a child? Have you seen a 3-year-old child and 4-year-old child? They are very restless, they are hopping from here, this place to that place to this place. And if you say them, please keep quiet, they cannot do that, right? We have experience, all of us have experience of our children, how they are so restless that they cannot sit at one place unless the higher activities has been given. So let's say if you do something for them, for coloring a paper or some books to read, at least for some time they can be busy in that activity, and then they are stop doing the things which they are doing, and you want them not to do. So that's the highest pleasure, right? That's the, I mean, higher taste, highest thing, something other to give, right? So if he or she is doing a mischief, and if you do constructive work, means some coloring or some drawing, then what they do, they make some good use of a time, right? They color something, otherwise they do all the stuff. It's very difficult to control a child, because child is very restless by nature. So our soul is also like that. Soul nature is being active, we cannot sit idle, not being doing anything else, right? So here, if you see, the Prabhupada is quoting the verse, and Prabhupada likes this verse very much. This is the most quoted verse of Prabhupada by Yamunacharya. So Yamunacharya, he was a king earlier, and he had this all sort of sense gratification facilities, right? So many girls will be dancing for him. So he was obviously doing the sense gratification earlier, but here now he's saying that since I have been engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna, I am realizing ever new pleasure in him. Does anybody know Krishna's name, which says that he is new, right? There is a name, Krishna's name. What is that? Does anybody know that? Ever new pleasure. How we are deriving the ever new pleasure? Because he is the Navina Nirada. He is the ever giving the new pleasure, new realization every time. So with that, whatever pleasure I am getting, when I think of sense gratification or sex pleasure with the opposite gender, I spit out that thought, like that type of level of renunciation would come. And how that renunciation would come for the material sense pleasure. And why? Because he has attained the higher taste, right? If you have attained the higher taste, and the lower taste automatically get you automatically get detached from them. So he's saying, I spit at that thought, even the thought come. What to speak of acting on the thought, what to speak of doing the same activity which he was earlier doing. Since he have gained this transcendental loving service of Krishna, he got so much distaste that he just spit at the thought. Usually we spit when something is very bad, right? So that's what he's thinking, that it's so bad. How can I engage in this kind of activity? So that's what is the distaste will be there with for the material sense pleasure, sense gratification. And Prabhupada also says that that's the highest in terms of, if you think in the material world, it is called Maithuna Agraha. So Maithuna Agraha means the shekel of sex life. So this word is called as Maithuna Agraha. So this word is the, as I mentioned, is the shekel, right? And how all of us has been bound by this shekel. So it's very difficult to come out of it. But once we engage in the devotional service of the Lord, then we automatically acquire the distaste from this. That's why the activities has been given to us, 4 regulative principle, and that is the 4 don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. So follow the 4 regulative principle and do chanting. So with that we awakens our dormant love for Krishna, and then we don't have to run behind the material sense pleasure, which usually ideally we all of us run behind. So because once we absorbed in the service of the Lord, here it is mentioned by Prabhupada also, that we lose the sense for the material pleasure, right? Earlier, if you think, right, earlier maybe if you are from 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, you will notice that you were a different person, right? So like maybe you used to go to the restaurant to eat and anything we used to do. But now what happened, that we have got a distaste for that. Oh, how can I go? That's such a filthy place. And the food is not offered to Krishna, but consciousness. What is the person consciousness is mixed in that food? How can I eat there? Or seeing a movie. Oh, I'm going to go to a movie. Such a waste of time. What is the useless thing, right? But for materialistic person, it's so nice. Oh, new movie is coming. Like they'll be like Bollywood news, Hollywood news, or so many things. What is happening to this and that, and so many useless things, right? Useless for a transcendentalist, for a devotee, because a devotee understand that all these things are temporary, and what is the highest things to achieve is the permanent. What happens when we engage in the temporary things of this material world? We waste one thing. We waste our most important time. So Chanakya Pandit says that if you want to buy a moment of time, you cannot do that. You cannot obtain that moment of time, even if you give how many millions of gold coin or millions of gold. If you give, you cannot buy back. What is that? I'm forgetting the words, but that one line is na labhyate swarna koti bhi. So na labhyate means you do not attain. So a Krishna conscious person or a devotee doesn't want to spend his time or waste his time something on the material activity which he thinks that is going to end soon. How much I want to engage, but I will not be satisfied, because who I am not this body, but I'm trying to gain the pleasure out of my body, right? I am trying to engage my senses with the sense object, and that's how I'm trying to gain a pleasure. But that pleasure will never ever satisfy the soul. Moreover, it will give the material miseries, right? So this is verse. This verse says that, and Prabhupada also says that materialistic cannot work without this motivation of sense gratification. But a transcendentalist, he is avoiding that, and he works with more enthusiasm to serve Krishna, rather a materialistic, even though he work behind the sense gratification, right? So there is an interesting thing which Prabhupada says in this verse. Let me just check that. So there is a one verse in Bhagavad Gita, that is 9.21, right? The last line is, if you remember, Shinne Punya Marte Lokam Vishanti, right? That's the words, that's the most famous line of that verse. It says, even if you acquire the heaven for your sense gratification, what's going to happen? You have to glide down. Shine, as soon as you run out of your piety, you have to come down. Nitya Lokam, you have to come down to this earth, right? To the mortal earth, to again start the cycle of birth and death, right? Gata agatam kama kabalabhante. That's what you are going to do. So what is that Kata Agatam? Prabhupada says, give a wonderful example here, but he says that Gata Agatam means birth and death. So you go, you come, you go, you come, you go, you come. Like that. This cycle of birth and death is never ending, because we don't give preference to Krishna consciousness. Rather, we all engage in all the material activity and think we should spend our time in material activities, and that's at the end, ultimately we don't. Ultimately we run out of our time from this life, right? Because this body is, yesterday we are discussing, right? We are soul. Is it not? The soul is something different, and I am the body. We are soul, and this body is just a matter. As soon as the soul goes out, this body is just lying, doing nothing. So the important is the soul, which is residing for a certain number of years, that has been given to us by the Supreme Lord, Karmana Deva Netrena. So, and who decide that? That decided by with the supreme authority, that is decided by the Devas, right? We have been pushed into the womb of our mother. So that is a very wonderful words that has been spoken by Kapila Muni, Karmana Deva Netrena. So here what I was saying about that verse is, the transcendentalist or a devotee, they understand that sense gratification is not a process. It's not going to help me. And once we understand this, that is called Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada also uses one word here, Variya Gashan. That means he gives the example of a goat, right? So there is a lot of number of the goats, and that has been taken to a slaughterhouses. So they are just, they cannot think anything. They are just going behind this goat merchant. Why they are going behind this goat merchant? Does anybody have any idea why these goats going behind with this goat merchant? Any idea? Who is taking them to a slaughterhouse? Okay, so why they go behind him? Because they think first one is going, second one is going, third one is going, so I also have to go, right? So they don't think, they don't use their intelligence. That's what happened with us. All of us will think that, okay, this material world, one person is doing this, other person is doing this, I have to achieve this, I have to achieve that. So with that, we are just running behind the material world. And what happens, we are not thinking that what will be the result of this is Kata Agatam, birth and death, nothing more than that. So as these goats is not considering that they are going to the slaughterhouse. One goat is slaughtered, then second, then third, then fourth. Like that, it is happening with us, right? So we are just going behind one person, second person, third person. And then we think that is the advancement. No, that is not the advancement. What is that? That is Kata Agatam, means birth and death, birth and death. So as I mentioned, that the Krishna conscious person will not run behind with this particular sense gratification or any type of sense gratification, because he understands the result. The result is what? Kata Gatam, right? And Prabhupada also says here that if you have a pinch of desire of material sense gratification, that I have to then, or anybody else, or any one of us have to take the material body, right? If we have material desire, we have to take the material. And what happens as soon as we take on material body? We are bound by the material miseries. So birth, death, old age, disease, Adi Bhautik, Adi Devik, Adhyatmik. These type of miseries we have to bear as soon as we take the material body. So this is what I had to share for this words. If anybody has any question, comments, any correction, they can please do so. Because this is what, if you see, this is what has been mentioned in this verse. Krishna conscious person is very much averse to that, because Prabhupada also says spiritual realization and sense gratification does go ill together, doesn't go together. That's what he says here. If you see the last line of the verse. No questions, no comments so far?
No, just a comment that we still try to squeeze just that little bit of enjoyment from this material world, right?
Yes, Mataji. Yes. Yeah, that's a very sad thing, right? That's why we
I
have
know.
here
I
again.
mean, lifetime after lifetime, charavata charavanam, but still we think we are going to get some happiness.
Yeah, Puna Charvitas Charan. We come
Mhm.
again and we just chew the chew. Prahlad Maharaj, actually, Prahlad Maharaj verses are so wonderful that we can discuss them in any of the class, because he speaks so much and he speaks so nicely about this material world. This verse is very, very wonderful, which you just mentioned. Just come and chew the chew, chew the chew. Didn't we get married? Didn't we have children? Didn't we have mother? Didn't we have father? Didn't we have job? Didn't we have what didn't we have in the last life if we were human being? But if we were not human being, all the things are there, right? Sense gratification. Even the hogs have the facility to do sense gratification, right? So yes, that's really true. But that's why we hear again and again, and hopefully it goes into our ear one day and we understand this. Yes, you're right, Mataji. Thank you for adding that. Prahlad Maharaj section is really wonderful.
And I liked your example of the goat. The goat is being led to the slaughterhouse, but one follows the other without thinking. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhupada says that, Mataji. Says Prabhupada. Exactly.
So we think, we can also get some pleasure just like our friends or other people that we are following. Yeah.
Yes, that's really true. Yeah. Prabhupada gives a very wonderful example. It's not me, it's all Prabhupada. He gives everything. He just sit and speak, that's it.
Right. Not only do we follow, we even get envious. Oh, that person has a bigger house, that person has a bigger car or a
Yeah.
better car.
Yeah, unless we are envious, we cannot, till the time we are envious, we cannot make progress in the spiritual life, right? Envy is the one thing that cannot be engaged in the service of the Lord, isn't it? From all of the anarthas.
Right.
Yeah, so yes, so we should not be envious. Because why the devotee should not be envious? Because they should think that's all temporary. It's not going to last. How much that person is going to enjoy that? We make so much effort to build a big house for 30 years. We pay the mortgage 40 years, and then what's going to happen? You're not going to live in that house, right? So that's what happened, right? Prabhupada says that's so foolish people. They just build.
I can't remember the name of that sage who never built a house. He lived for thousands of years, but he still said,
Loma,
oh, I'm going to die anyway. Huh?
Loma Harsha is the one who has the hair. What was that is, I think Loma Harsha Rishi, because he has the benediction that he will live for the years by which, by the time all of his body hair will fall down. And he has so many bodily hairs. And when his disciple asked, why you're not constructing even a kutia, even a hut, so that you can chant Kusili, he said, I don't want to waste my time. Even though he has so many long hair, how much he have? He has
Mm-hmm.
lot of hairs actually. Loma Harsha Mataji, that's a very
Mm-hmm.
example you reminded of. Loma Harsha Rishi was,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So he has, even though so many years he had, and
Right.
we have so many years to live. But
Yeah, we have like barely a few years to live compared to that.
yes,
And
compared to,
still we make so many arrangements here.
yes, yeah. That's to make our life comfortable.
Comfortable and as if we're going to stay here forever.
Forever. Yes. Like one example has been given, like the hotel, in the hotel, if we go, what we do, right? We just stay for 2 days and we just come come back to our home. And if we just try to make arrangement, okay, these curtains are not good, maybe he should put red curtain or pink curtain, this bed sheet, okay, he should change the bed or something. We don't make that arrangement, right? So similar way, we should understand that this is, yes, we need a little comfortable life where we can peacefully chant, but not making it so much complex for ourselves so that we don't have time for our bhakti, our sadhana, because that's it going to help in the end of our life. Is my bed going to help? Is my table going to help me? Like all these things we require. I'm not saying we don't require, we require, but we should have some limit, because the desire are never ending, right? We have to put a a mark if it is going too much now, like that.
Not just a hotel, like think about even an apartment. It's a
Yes,
rental, right? We're not going to put granite counter and excellent floor and things like that in an apartment, right? Because
yeah,
we feel we are just renting it for a short period of time. We don't own it.
yes,
So we have to think of our body also as a rental, and everything that's given to us as a rental.
yes, yes. This is rental, Mataji. Yes, this
Yeah.
is kind of a lease. We don't know
Yeah.
when it's going to end.
When the lease is going to end. That's the only difference.
The difference. Our apartment, we know at least. Okay,
At least apartment, we know, yeah, we have a 6-month lease or a 1-year lease. But here we don't know when our lease is going to end.
we cannot renew also. There we can.
We can renew, but depends on where we renew it to. Are we going to renew it to a better spiritual life, or are we going to renew it back into some kind of a material life where we don't know where we're going?
But for this body, we cannot renew even a single moment. Right?
Yeah, for
Prabhupada,
the same body, yes. Yeah.
Gita Prabhupada says that a person I know, he was asking for a for a
4 years or something, yes. Yeah.
4 years. So
Yeah,
that
he was asking for 4 years. Let me put my all
uh,
my all my business affairs in order, yeah.
he gives that example.
Like give me 4 years, doctor, or something like that, he was asking.
So foolish, you don't know, right? So the similar
Hmm.
Pandit also says that we cannot buy back. Even we have millions of dollars, what you gonna do? Are you gonna eat that, or are you gonna eat the gold, or what? I don't know. So Prabhupada says that that gold, if you have so much, you cannot buy back the time which we have invested uselessly without serving Krishna. This is for me, especially Mataji. I am really waste a lot of time not doing anything. So yes, we'll go to the next words. I will just chant once, and you can chant with me, and then we can go with the, or we can chant 3 times, and then we'll go to the translation. Yehi samspasha bhoga
Yehi samsparsha cha bhoga
dukkha yona evate
dukkha yonaya evate
adi antavanta kaunteya
adyantavanta kaunteya
nateshu ramate buddha.
nateshu ramate buddha.
Yehi samspasha. This word is like samspasha. Sorry. Yehi samspasha cha bhoga
Yehi samsparsha ja bhoga
dukkha yona evate
dukkha yonaya evate
adi antavanta kaunteya
adyantavanta kaunteya
nateshu ramate buddha.
nateshu ramate buddha.
Yehi samspasha cha bhoga
Yehi samsparsha ja bhoga
dukkha yona evate
dukkha yonaya evate
adi antavanta kaunteya
adyantavanta kaunteya
nateshu ramate buddha.
nateshu ramate buddha.
Ye those,
Ye to
he certainly
he certainly
samsparsha chaha
samsparsha jaha
by contact with the material senses,
by contact with the material senses,
bhoga,
bhoga,
enjoyments,
enjoyments,
ha,
dukkha,
stress,
distress,
yonaha,
yonaha,
sources of,
sources of,
eva,
eva,
certainly,
Certainly,
they
they
are
are
Adi,
Adi,
beginning,
beginning,
Anta,
Anta,
end,
end,
Vantaha,
Vantaha,
subject to
subject to
Kaunteya,
Kaunteya,
son of Kunti,
O son of Kunti.
now,
Na,
never,
never,
Eshu,
Teshu,
in those,
in those,
Ramate,
Ramate,
takes delight,
takes delight,
Taha,
Buddha,
the intelligent person.
the intelligent person.
This is a very important verse, memorization verse of this chapter, very, very important. An intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery, which are due to contact with the material sense. See, which are due to contact with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasure have a beginning and end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Look at the translation that Prabhupada wrote here. Intelligent person does not take part in the source of misery. See, he's not calling it as a source of happiness, because we think which are contact due to material senses, right? We think when we connect our senses to material sense object, we will get the pleasure, isn't it? We get the happiness. But here, Prabhupada is saying that is the source of misery. And who understand that's the source of misery? Isn't it that's it, that the person is intelligent person. An intelligent person understand it, the source of misery. Yeah, right? As other person understand it as a source of happiness. But no, that's a so-called happiness because it's a source of misery. It's not the source of happiness. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, right? Adi Antavanta. So Adi Antavanta means it has a beginning and it has an end. And so the wise man does not delight in them. Na teshu ramate buddha. So they do not ramate means they do not ramate means like taking pleasure. So they do not delight in these kind of sense gratification. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, material sense pleasure are due to contact with the material senses, which are all temporary because the body is itself temporary. A liberated soul is not interested in anything which is temporary. Knowing well the joys of transcendental pleasure, how can a liberated soul agree to enjoy false pleasure? In the Padma Purana, it is said, Ramante yogino ante satyanande chidatmani iti rama padena shuho param brahma api diyate. So this is a verse from Padma Puran. The mystic derive unlimited transcendental pleasure. Anante means unlimited. Pleasure from the absolute truth. And therefore the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead is called Rama. So Rama means who gives the ultimate pleasure. So Prabhupada also likes this. This verse is also very important. Prabhupada quotes it so many times. In Srimad Bhagavatam, also 5.5.1, it is said. So who says this verse? Rishabdev says this verse to his sons. So he's teaching them and he says, Nayam dehu deha bhajame kloke kashtan kamanahate vid bhujange tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhayat yasmat brahma sakyam tavanantanam. Anantam, so Anantam, right? What we have to work for, this verse is very, very wonderful. So my dear sons, there is no reason to labor very hard for sense pleasure. Ultimately, everybody of us, every one of us work very hard for sense pleasure while in this human form of life. Because why? Because such pleasures are available to the stool eaters, hogs, right? So hog also enjoy the sense gratification, the sense pleasure, which has been talked in the last verse. Rather, you should undergo penances in this life. So we should undergo the austerity, the penances by which your existence will be purified. And as a result, you will be able to enjoy the unlimited transcendental bliss. So what will happen when we voluntarily take up some penances, some austerities to purify our existence? Like chanting is also a big austerity to me. I don't have any taste for chanting. So, but if eventually, when we don't have taste, then I don't have taste, but we have to do it because that has been the order of the spiritual master. So once we do that, that's a kind of a volunteer austerity, big austerity for me, because I'm not able to do it. So, but when we try to do it, what happens is that day by day, little by little, because our chanting is not pure, my chanting is not pure. So, little by little, our existence get purified. What will happen at that time? If when we engage our lifetime, our time duration of life in this human form, in this human body, then what's going to happen? We are going to attain the unlimited transcendental bliss. And he's saying, don't do the hard labor. You know, you have got this human form of life, and you are doing the hard labor uselessly just to attain the sense pleasure, just to do the sense gratification. Don't do that. Why? Because that pleasure is also, sense gratification is enjoyed by the pig. He has so many piglets, right? So don't do that kind of sense gratification, because that has been given to stool eater also, right? If we glide down to the lower species of life, that sense pleasure is there. You don't have to work hard. So don't do that work hard in the human form of life, because you have achieved, right? But just Prahlad Maharaj says that this human form of life, all the temporary, but it is very, very important. Why? Because it can give you the highest achievement. What is the highest achievement? Is the devotional service to the Lord. So engage this temporary, even though temporary, but very valuable. Why? Because it can give you the anantam, the highest pleasure, transcendental bliss it can give to us, all of us. So that's what this has been taught by Rishabdev to his son. Therefore, those who are true yogis or learned transcendentalists are not attracted by sense pleasure, which are the cause of continuous material existence. The more one is addicted to material pleasure, the more he is entrapped by the material miseries. So, very important verse, right? Yehi sanspashascha bhoga dukkha yona evate adi antavanta Panteya Nateshu Ramate Buddha. So um, whoever is the transcendentalist or a devotee or trying to be a transcendentalist, he should not be doing the sense pleasure. Why? Because that so-called sense pleasure is basically a material misery, because it's going to extend my life, extend my material, millions of birth I'm going to get, and without getting the ultimate achievement. Even though I got the human form of life, but we have wasted it. We have not cultivated Krishna consciousness in a way which we could have done. So we have wasted that, and we have glide down. Why? Because why we have wasted a lot of time? Because we think that Bahirartha Manina, because we think that this external material life is very, very important. Spiritual life, okay, I put it side second. First, all these things first come. Everything material first come, and then the spiritual life comes. So we have done that, and then we have kept it aside. Okay, I can do it later, like that. So that's what has been taught in this verse. Lord Rishabdev is saying, Prabhupada likes this verse so much. He quote this verse multiple times. That's an important verse. So a hog and dog, they cannot understand. They just enjoy their sense pleasure. They just eat, sleep, meet, and defend. That's what, if we are have to do, then we are nowhere different than the animal, right? The Prabhupada says that we are like a polished animal, right? Because we are doing the same thing, but in a better way. They are doing outside, we are doing at the home, right? So graha methunadi graha meti sukham hitucham, right? This methunadi, right? This graha meti life, the sense pleasure that has been attained is very tucham, is very Rishabdev, I'm just went to the 551. Rishabdev clearly states that the human life is not meant for this kind of existence, which is enjoyed even by dogs and hogs. Indeed, dogs and hogs do not have to work so hard for sex. A human being should try to live in a different way and should not try to imitate dogs and hogs. The alternative is mentioned. Human life is meant for tapasya, austerity, and penances. By tapasya, one can get out of material clutches. When one is situated in Krishna consciousness, devotional service, his happiness is guaranteed eternally. By taking to Bhakti Yoga, one's existence is purified. The living entity is seeking happiness life after life, but he don't know how to get it, right? But he can make a solution to all these problems. Life after life, he is seeking happiness. Does anybody seek sad, or does anybody think to be distressed? Most of us, right? We don't want to be distressed. Happiness we are seeking, but we don't know how to get the proper happiness. So how to get a proper happiness is by practicing the Bhakti Yoga. Prabhupada says, I'm just reading from the purport, like a part of the purport, last line. So the living entity is seeking happiness life after life, but he can make the solution by practicing Bhakti Yoga. Then he immediately becomes eligible to return home back to God at, yeah, right? Because Janma Karma Chametivyam, that word Prabhupada quotes here. Once we know the transcendental activity, because how we know Krishna? By Bhakti Yoga, Bhaktya Mama Vijanati. Once we know Krishna by executing the Bhakti Yoga, then Krishna says Janma Karma Chametivyam. Since you have known my the mystery of my birth, right, and my karma, then you can definitely enter into my abode, and you don't have to come to this temporary material world after leaving the material body. So that's what this verse says. So na teshu ramate buddha means who are the devotees, or who are trying to be a devotee. They do not want to get entangled into more and more into this material life. Then what they do, they just avoid this sense gratification, and they should avoid this sense gratification, right? So this is what this verse says. And what happens? More and more when we engage in Krishna's service, more and more this fever of materialism go down. Less and less we engage in Krishna service, more and more this less and less we engage in Krishna service, more and more material fever will be on us. So how to get out of it is, only solution is to engage ourselves in the process of Bhakti Yoga. And we all know how we can engage ourselves in the process of Bhakti Yoga. Everything Prahlad Maharaj gives, 9 process of Bhakti Yoga: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So these 9 processes, we should engage ourselves. More we engage into Krishna's service, less and less our material, because we have less time for thinking about the material activities. But when we have a lot of time, we are not doing Krishna conscious activity, we do all these material activity, think more about the material activity. How can I get this? How can I get that? And so many things, we all know. So that's what. Okay, so this is what this verse says. Anybody want to add anything on this verse? Yeah, and Prabhupada also says here, Vairagyam. So Vairagyam means no more taste for sense gratification. Vairagyam doesn't mean that I leave everything and go to the forest. So Vairagya means, the real Vairagya means no more taste for sense gratification. Our material attachment means material sense gratification. That's our attachment. We have to cut down that attachment, right? By the sword of Bhakti Yoga, or by the sword of the knowledge of Bhakti Yoga, we have to cut. So these are a few lines which Prabhupada says. And he also says, our two business, either material sense gratification, Krishna consciousness, or Bhakti Yoga. So he says, if I am not in yoga system, then I must be in sense gratification. If I'm not doing Krishna conscious activity, then I must be in sense gratification. And if I am in sense gratification, then there is no question of yoga, right? Because he says sense gratification and spiritual life go ill together. So this is few lines he says about the Bhakti Yoga. So real happiness is not about engaging our senses in material sense gratification, but to engage them to attain the highest form of happiness. You see, right? If in this material world, if we want to engage in sense gratification, let's say to eat any palatable dish, how much I can eat or how much you can eat. So if let's say if you like gulab jamun, you can eat 10 at a time. Can you eat more than that? Maybe somebody 15. But there is a point where you say no, I cannot eat, because that is decreasing. And how is the nature of the spiritual? Does anybody know what is the nature of the spiritual happiness? What does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says about the nature of the spiritual happiness? Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. It increases, 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 because it's a different kind, right? Material sense pleasure is going to, like as I gave the example of in eating, at that point of time you cannot eat. If you are feeling happy, then eat more, right? Because that's decreasing. This stage is happening because I cannot eat more because I have the limitation of my material body. But for spiritual happiness, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, right? So this first verse, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam. So that verse says that Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam ever increases, right? So the one example I was hearing long back, as remembering that now. So Radhanath Maharaj was saying that when gopis dress themselves, their Krishna's happiness increase by seeing the beauty of the gopis. And by seeing Krishna happy, gopis' beauty increases. By seeing increasing beauty of the gopis, Krishna happiness increases. By seeing Krishna happy, again their beauty increases. So it's a spiritual competition. It's never ending. By seeing each other happiness and beauty, this is increasing, And he says it multiple times, like Krishna's happiness increase and the gopis' beauties increase. By gopis' beauties increase, Krishna's happiness increase, and it goes on, It's never ending. So that kind of that is called a spiritual happiness. It's anantam. It's never ending, right? That verse which we read, the Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam, the last line, Brahma Sakyam. Let me just quickly see. Brahma, yeah. So Yasmat Brahma Sakyam Tavanantaram. So that is called the spiritual happiness. It's just keep on increasing. So I would like to take a pause because since we have covered 2 verses and we don't have time for going to the other verse. If anybody would want to say anything, they can go ahead and please correct.
That is nice that you explain Krishna's happiness increases by seeing the gopis and the gopis' happiness. It's there in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I think. I just recently read it,
Yeah, I have heard it a long back, and Maharaj is saying like that,
and it's just never ending. It's like you don't know who is making who happy.
happy. Yes,
More
yes,
happy.
that's true. Yes, I think it's there in Chaitanya Charitamrita too.
Yeah.
When Maharaj was saying, long back I have heard in very long back. Yeah. So yes, that's called the Brahma Sakyam. It's never ending, ever increasing. Yes.
Very nice. Nice class. A lot of nice points. Hard to practice.
I know for me also, Mataji, to give you a blessing so that I can also practice.
We all need blessings.
Pyare Prabhu, please bless us. Pyare Prabhu.
Guru, Krishna, other devotees.
Yes, if nobody has anything to share, to correct, to give a feedback, then we can end the class here. So we can offer our prayers to all of the assembled Vaishnavas.
Apakarabhyascha kapasaladevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Antakoti Vaishnavaki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Padmalochani Mataji ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.